Danny watches a lot of television and movies. John does not. Listen in as she tells him about what she's watching, and he tries to make sense of it all. Welcome to Watching My Stories with Danny and John.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Watching My Stories.
Ta-da!
I'm Danny.
And I'm John.
You are?
Da-da-da-da.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you.
We're back. So we did 3 weeks this time. Not horrible, but...
Getting better, I suppose.
Yeah, but I actually have a lot that I've watched. So I'm going to go really quickly through everything. We've got some jokes for a joke corner.
Just one.
Oh, just one. Good research. And...
Hey, what do you want from me for 2 minutes ago?
And then, we were struggling of who to talk about in Actors Corner. And last night, I'm just trying to watch as much Christmas stuff as I can. And Tim Allen sprung into my head because he kind of has the most Christmas movies, I guess. So we're going to discuss Tim Allen, which there's not a lot, but we're going to discuss Tim Allen.
We're going to discuss him anyway.
Actors Corner. And so let's get started.
Okay.
Let's start off with John's Joke Corner.
Wow, I had no idea you've been working on an introduction.
That was good. I spent money on that.
Well done. Not as good as your parkour, but...
Yeah, I did my parkour before we started.
Oh, classic. Hey, did you hear about the police have announced that a cartoon artist was killed? Did you hear about it?
Could you repeat the question, please? I think you could deliver that better.
Hey, did you hear about the police?
Oh no! I'm so sorry, everybody.
That's what you get for thinking. You thought I could do better on the second try. Ugh.
Okay.
Hey.
Does it always have to be hey?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Did you hear about the cartoon artist that was killed?
I did not.
Police don't have much to go by, and the details are pretty sketchy.
I'm gonna give that a wah, wah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I don't think you told that entirely correctly.
Oh, I'm sure I didn't. I just learned it 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Well,
he puts a lot of effort into this, guys.
4 minutes.
Thanks for tuning in.
4 minutes ago now. It took 2 minutes to get through it.
Oh my gosh. He's in a mood. Okay.
I'm schwitzing a little bit. Whew. Okay.
All right. And that's it?
Yeah.
What about the one that Alexa told? I thought that was funny. How do boogers get married or something like that?
How do boogers get married?
They tie the snot. He acts like he hasn't heard it. And we already went through this. I don't get it. Okay.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm so easily entertained. It's
until
sad.
now, when I start talking, he'll be asleep in a few seconds. So, but that's life.
I love you.
Love you.
Okay. Your turn.
We're going to jump into movies now, and I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because I've seen a lot, and so I want to get through them, the quick ones that I can. So,
okay.
First movie we're going to talk about is King Richard. This is the Will Smith movie where he plays Richard Williams, the father to Venus and Serena Williams. This is playing on HBO Max. I think it's in theaters as well. I don't know. So I loved this movie. I'm very biased because I do love Will Smith. We know he's on my husband list. Mm-hmm. He's also on my freebie list, so I'll take him any way I can get him. This was great. This, I think, the whole everyone pictured Richard Williams as being this very pushy, very abrasive guy who forced his daughters to play tennis and all that. And this shows the story of, no, he was empowering them, and he knew that they would become number one and number two in the world, but he would not have pushed them if they did not want to play, and they wanted to play. So I feel like even just saying pushing them is the wrong word, because it was their desire to play and their desire to become the best, but he also held them back a lot because he wanted them to continue to be kids as well. They could have been in the juniors program and been competing all through their teen years, and he didn't want them doing that. He also had to, make deals and kind of trick systems in a way in order to get things done for them, because he wasn't working as much and he was having to put so much time into it, and so they needed places to live and jobs and stuff. So it's a very interesting story, especially now where I believe they actually aren't very close with him anymore. And their parents separated at some point, and their mom really became the person in their lives so much. But after you watch the movie, I recommend going onto Facebook watch to Red Table Talk, which I'm actually going to talk about Red Table Talk when I get to television shows. But there was an episode they did with Will Smith and Venus and Serena and the two other sisters and their mother, and all of them talking about the movie, talking about their father, talking about the whole experience. And it's a really great follow-up to after watching the movie. You really admire him for the kind of vision that he had for his children. And it wasn't just Venus and Serena. The other two, he fully predicted that they would be doctors, lawyers, that sort of thing. He just wanted the absolute best for his kids. And he felt, and there's a perfect line in the movie where he says, no one has ever respected Richard Williams. No one has ever had any respect for me, but they will respect my daughters. And it was that sort of generation of a black man who had been literally beaten down many times in this country to still stand up and say, but my daughters are going to be respected in this world, and they're going to have what I never was able to get, and so there's a lot of lovely lines. There's this whole scene where he's talking to Venus about she's going to be the greatest in the world. Like, there's just all this stuff. I had chills and cried a lot. It's very well done. Will Smith is amazing. He will definitely be nominated, for everything. Really inspirational and really well done. And then go to Red Table Talk and check out the real people, and it's great.
Okay.
Next movie I'm going to talk about is Tick, Tick, Boom. This is on Netflix. This is directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda. It stars Andrew Garfield, who honestly I had never paid attention to in life. Like, I knew he was in the Spider-Mans, but I never watched his Spider-Man movies. And you pointed out the Facebook movie.
Social Network,
right?
Yeah.
But again, I can't even place him in that. And there were a couple others. When I finally looked it up, I was like, oh yeah, that was him, but I never really paid attention. He does much more theater than he does really, I think, movies and stuff. Anyway, he had never sang before either. So this is a musical. This is Jonathan Larson's musical. Jonathan Larson is the person who wrote Rent. Everyone pretty much knows his story, that he died the night before the previews of Rent ever started. He had a heart embolism and died in his apartment. This Tick, Tick, Boom he wrote before all of that. Tick, Tick, Boom he wrote kind of near probably 5 or 6 years earlier. It's about turning 30 as an artist and why won't anyone pay attention to my art and that sort of thing, and feeling the ticking time clock, because again, like Sondheim had his first hit before he was 30 and all that sort of stuff, and he did this show basically as a one-man show. He had a band and he had a couple other singers, and he performed Tick, Tick, Boom just for a couple nights in New York. Just that was it. It was just one of those things that never became anything until after his death, and then people discovered it, and people have recreated it on stage. But this took that stage work and kind of filled out the story and filled out his life at that time, and what was going on as he was writing it and all of that. And I'll tell you, Lin-Manuel Miranda directed the crap out of this. It is gorgeous. It is so beautiful to look at. It is so it gave me the chills multiple times. So in order to, again, with the music and to get that feeling. That's a good director. Andrew Garfield is amazing in this, and I want him to, 1, be nominated, and 2, win everything. Because if Ansel Elgort gets anything, I'm so sorry. If Ansel Elgort gets anything, I'm going to riot. I will be highly, highly disappointed in the world.
You can go outside and smash something.
Yeah, his face.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, I will see West Side Story. I am sure it's going to be beautiful despite him, but let's all remember that he has been accused of sexual assault and he deserves nothing. So anyway, back to Tick, Tick, Boom. And Andrew Garfield, who I think is the nicest person in the whole wide world, and I love him, and I want him to be everyone's best friend. If you haven't seen him on Stephen Colbert talk about this show and talk about his mother's passing, I mean, he's just, now we think he's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, you won't make it through.
Yeah.
With dry eyes.
Yeah. And so I've shown you a couple of the pieces from the movie, but you have not seen the whole movie.
Correct.
It is something that you need to see. It's such an amazing job. Everyone in it is so good. And like I said, Lynn just did a great job of directing this. He will be getting a lot more directing gigs because of this.
Yeah, watching the scenes that you showed me, I don't know which was more surprising, that this was Lynn's first movie directorial debut, or that Andrew Garfield didn't sing until like a year ago.
Right.
That he literally said, well, I got to learn to sing. So he started to sing.
Well, I saw Lin-Manuel again. He was on Graham Norton, and he was saying that it wasn't that he couldn't sing. It was that he didn't know he could sing. And so when he went in like a year before to start learning or to start trying to sing, he could. He just didn't really know that he could. So he was only given a few more tools to say, here's how to make it better, that sort of thing. And Lynn was kind of like, it was perfect because he didn't have any bad habits. He didn't have any it's not like he had been trying to sing his whole life and been doing a horrible job. He just could, and it was hidden, So it really is he does an amazing job. He really fakes playing the piano really well. Like he learned enough just to fake it, you know what I mean? And it's just so good. It's so moving. And again, Rent is my favorite show of all time. And so there's a lot of different opinions out there about Jonathan Larson, but for me it changed my musical theater world and my whole world almost at the time when Rent came out, that this is a very important piece to put out there, especially with losing Stephen Sondheim last week. He plays a part in this. Bradley Whitford actually plays Stephen Sondheim, but there is an actual voicemail that Lynn got Sondheim to record in his own voice that's in the movie. So it's just one of those, we're feeling Broadway right now. We're feeling the loss of Sondheim, and you could also feel the loss of Larson, because what else could he have done after this, you know? Anyway, it's on Netflix, so it's out there for everyone to watch. Please go watch it, and you will definitely see it nominated. I think yesterday the New York Critics Award nominations came out. It got like 7 or 8 nominations, so you're going to see it everywhere for the coming awards period.
Yeah, I will be watching it. Just a little bit that you showed me, I was like, oh, I want to see this. So, yeah,
for sure. Okay, the next movie I'm going to talk about was on Showtime. It's called The Humans. This was also a Tony-winning play before, and then they turned it into this movie. It's with Richard Jenkins and Amy Schumer and Beanie Feldstein and Glenn from Walking Dead, and I just blanked on his name, which he's an Oscar nomination for. Anyway, great cast, amazing cast. June Squibb. Amazing cast. I didn't get this movie. I didn't get the play. I didn't get it. I don't. I'm missing something, and I feel really stupid because of it. Some places listed this as a horror movie. Some places listed this as a comedy, and so I went into it figuring it was both. I didn't laugh and I didn't get scared, so I don't know what's happening. It was an annoying family drama. You know what I mean? Like, so
I do.
where a lot of times you have these dysfunctional families and people think it's funny and whatever, and it's like, oh, that was funny to you, okay. But this one wasn't so funny. There was a lot of really yucky things happening, and it all takes place like in this kind of empty, older apartment. And so there's a lot of creaking and a lot of weird, where I can see they were trying to make it quote unquote scary, or are they trying to make it a metaphor for the scariness of the family that's happening within? Like all of that sort of stuff that I was not piecing together. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, what am I felt dumb, because normally I can do all of that.
Right.
And normally I can read between the lines or figure out what someone's trying to tell me. And I couldn't, and it was long and it took forever. And by the end I was like, seriously, just be done. So I don't know. I loved everyone in it. Everyone was very good. I just didn't get it. So if anyone out there has watched it and they can explain it to me, because I went online and I was like, someone please tell me what I'm missing, and no one was really anything. I read it, just maybe 2 or 3 things, and it was all just very basic, like what I had witnessed. Nothing of telling me what I should have gotten out of it, So if anyone can tell me, please do so. Otherwise, I would tell people to skip it, but I also feel weird about that, because I would have liked to have seen the play version like the entire time I was watching this, because they're in a set. And so I thought, how are they doing this on stage? How was this done on stage? Because maybe that adds to whatever feeling it is that they're wanting to give me, because I wasn't getting it from this. So I would like to see it on stage and see how they did it.
Yeah, it sounds like, yeah. I mean, sometimes there are just those that are, really popular with the general public or, critics or whatever. And I watch it and I'm like, I don't see any of that. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's the thing about art; it's very subjective. You either get it or you don't, and sometimes you just don't, and everybody else does, and you're like,
yeah, for sure.
And I don't think you should feel dumb.
Well, because I just think there's underlying subtext there that I'm just not getting, and that's what bothers me. But anyway, it's called The Humans on Showtime. Check it out or not, and if you do, let me know what you think.
Good luck with it.
Yeah. The next movie I actually rented on pay-per-view, Spencer, the Princess Diana movie with Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
I did this because I'm a huge Anglophile, and I'm a huge, just, the whole Princess Diana and the whole weird family. So I was like excited for this, especially I have turned a corner on Kristen Stewart. I never watched the Twilight movies, so I didn't like her during that whole thing, but give me Charlie's Angels every day and I'm all good. And there was something, she was in that underwater one too, where she was good in that, and I think there's another thing that I like her now. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. First off, outside of the movie, she's great in this. Like literally there were times where I could not recognize her. Because I thought, going into this, I was like, well, of course she plays this. She always does that, like, head tilt down, like, oh, I'm so shy thing, right? Like, that's her whole Bella Swan thing. But she doesn't do that in this. Like, she's very good in this.
You mean she showed range?
Well, yeah, but look, she can. I'm not going to get into that
now.
But she's good, and she is really good as Princess Diana. The only thing that bothered me was the voice. She does the breathy voice, so like in the main interview that Princess Di did, you can tell she kind of is very breathy and she pauses all the time. So Kristen was doing that, but she did it for everything. Even when she was yelling at people, it was still this very breathy thing where it's like, I think Diana had different voices when she was, with different people, right?
Sure.
But anyway, so she did great. She was very good. I did not like the movie. I did not. So this is a fictional story of a Christmas weekend at the castle. I forget the name of the castle that the family goes to at Christmas. And this was set like the year that her and Charles were about to separate. They were separated, but they were going to get divorced. So this is a completely fictional tale of this weekend. So at this time, yes, Diana's miserable. She's miserable. Yes, right. We know that. But this story and the way they told it made her look crazy. And I well, I want to say, and I know that's not right, but I know that that's the thing she worried about most. And I also feel like that's the thing that a lot of times that family and the media wanted to portray her as being crazy, whereas she was a normal woman who was, unloved in a marriage and being cheated on and missing her children and whatever else was going on. And we see that now with Meghan and Harry, and how if you are just sad or you're having a problem dealing, that family doesn't respond well. This movie, they had her like seeing things and being delusional in a way and running away and wanting to kill herself, which we know she tried early on. But at this point, her children, Harry and William are, 8 and 12 or whatever. Like at that point, we know she was so about her children, it really bothered me. I did not like the way they were making her look. And maybe that's just me being protective or, because I feel like the real world, the real life, you could have fictionalized this insane weekend just fine with her just being upset to be there and having to deal with that family. Let me tell you this. When you go there, you have to be weighed. I looked it up to make sure that this was accurate. This goes back hundreds of years at some king. I think it was Henry VIII even. Maybe not. Some king weighed his guests when they came for the holiday weekend and then weighed them when they left because he wanted to be sure that they gained at least 3 pounds over the holiday weekend, because that would mean they had a good time because they ate so much food. And the queen still does this to this day. When everyone goes to this castle for holiday weekend, everyone has to get weighed in. And it's this insane weigh thing where you like sit on a chair and the guy has all the stones and he's putting the stones and he has a book and he writes it down. And we're talking about a woman who's dealing with an eating disorder and has been for 20 years. And they're making her go and get weighed. And like, I mean, talk about putting you in a state as soon as you walk into this affair. Like, give me a freaking break, right? So
I wonder how many people didn't like the food but just stole some silverware. Just to get out the door. Yeah.
So Kristen's good. I did not like the story. I wish they had done something that made her look more just not crazy.
Less crazy?
Because she wasn't crazy. She was, it's like we can go to the Britney thing. Like, you're not crazy. You're a person feeling things and going through shit.
She was unhappy and possibly depressed, but not crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's Spencer. Do with it what you will. I do hope Kristen gets some recognition though, and I'm sure she will, because again, there's not a lot of movies out this year. So, okay. Next movie I'm going to talk about is 8-Bit Christmas. This is on HBO Max. This is Neil Patrick Harris stars and is the narrator in it. This is someone's idea of trying to come up with a new Christmas story. Or it reminds you of Princess Bride too, right? Where someone's narrating this whole story that's being told. More Christmas story related, because it's about him telling his daughter how he got his first Nintendo. And at first it's very nostalgic, right? Because we are hearing this narration and it starts to remind you of that. And he's giving all the 80s stuff that, so just like when you watch Christmas Story and you're given all of that sort of past living than the way people lived back then, it's that sort of thing too, where he's talking about those little things. So you get all cozy into this little nostalgic world. Yeah. And as a boy, there was one kid in his whole school who had a Nintendo, and it was a real jerk of a kid, and all this stuff. And anyway, that gets taken away. And so now all the kids want a Nintendo just so someone has it in the town, and he's one of them and he wants one. And they go through selling, Boy Scout stuff. Like they were promised that would be the prize, and all sorts of things that this kid goes through that just keep trying to get a Nintendo, as much as telling his parents. His mother is June Diane Raphael. His father is Steve Zahn. They're interesting, very 80s parents of kind of not really involved in what their kids are doing. The sister wants a Cabbage Patch doll. So there's a lot of nostalgia in it. but it went on and on and on,
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the first hour I was still like, okay. And, and then it started getting repetition of, oh, you think he's going to get it? Nope, he didn't get it. He didn't get it. And even the daughter, we'd come back to them in real time. And the daughter would be like, you didn't get it? Nope, that's not how I got it. Let me tell you this. And what happened is by the end of it, they flipped on us. And it was like him getting the Nintendo was not the big deal. And they turned it into like, oh, and family and love and holidays. It was, you put me through this whole thing. I want the big explosion of holy crap, he got the Nintendo versus, flipping the script on me. I get,
agree.
yes, it's Christmas and we want the whole love, whatever. But no, I've been here. And the reason we know he has it is because they show up at his parents' house and the daughter's bored and Neil Patrick Harris is like, let's play it on my Nintendo, which is still hooked up to an actual tube television. And like anyone has that anymore. But, and so we know he has it. So you're not just watching going, oh, did he ever get it? We know he got it somehow. And we have to go through so much to get it.
Yeah.
So it just took too long. I would have loved a much more streamlined story. Keep the nostalgia there with me. It went awry.
That ends with the payoff.
Yeah.
I understand. Look, family's important and love and all that happy crap. But what would be refreshing is a Christmas movie where the payoff at the end really is the gift, the prize, the thing that the kid always wanted or whatever, and it wasn't. And Christmas Story did pretty good with that. It was still
but
all
he does shoot his eye out. So there's that. There is the thing of like, yes, a child wants something and maybe it's not the best thing for them or whatever, but even like. There was even this thing where, like I said, the sister wants a Cabbage Patch Kid. Steve Zahn goes and finds a guy. Remember back in the day where you couldn't find any of this stuff, and he takes the son with him, and a guy's selling Cabbage Patch Kids out of his trunk. Mm-hmm. And the boy even says to his dad, "Why are you going through all this trouble for her, and you won't get me my Nintendo?" And in the trunk was a Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And the boy says, "Dad, why can't we ask him how much the Nintendo is?" And he dismisses him. And so I started getting really angry because that was, so sometimes there's a little too much reality maybe, but it's also just like, and he didn't get the Cabbage Patch Kid that the girl wanted either, which again, just annoys me. It was like she wanted the redhead and the boy's even sitting there saying, "Oh, we want the redhead." And the dad's like, "No, we'll take the blonde." Like, what? Just get the kid what the kid wants. I don't know.
Those are directorial choices.
I haven't had therapy in a couple months.
Well, sounds like you definitely need it after this movie.
So, anyway, it's fun in the beginning, but it gets to be too much.
Sure.
So,
okay.
Anyway, 8-Bit Christmas on HBO Max. But I would love for someone to come up with like our generation's Christmas story. That's what it felt like in the beginning. I was getting very excited. Like, oh, this can be us. This will be us remembering, nope, it fell short. So, we'll get there. Someone will. The next movie I'm going to talk about is Power of the Dog. This is going to be quick. It's on Netflix with Benedict Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons.
Oh, yeah.
And Kirsten Dunst and a bunch of other people. I only got 30 minutes into it. And I'll just let you know, at 30 minutes, Benedict Cumberbatch starts beating on a horse for no reason, and so I turned it off. I cannot watch dogs or horses get hurt.
Animals.
Period. No, I'm okay with. I can handle a lot of animals getting hurt.
Okay.
Not handle it, but I don't. You don't shut
react
things
like you
off.
do to a dog
or
or
a horse.
Gotcha.
Done.
Gotcha.
Not continuing.
That's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So
I get it.
Up until that 30-minute mark, there wasn't a lot of story, but I was interested in where it was going. Now, my mom did watch it. She kept watching it. She said it ended. There was a good ending. And she said it started to make sense, but it took about halfway through for her to know even what it was about.
Yeah,
So I don't have that, it's a Jane Campion movie, so people are really thrilled that she has a new movie out and all this stuff. I'm also not a Western person, so,
Yeah.
So there's that.
I don't want a movie to put me through a bunch of stuff just to get to something I saw coming.
We know. You're a very simple viewer.
Why? Wow.
Yeah.
If I wasn't so simple, I'd be offended by that.
That's right. Okay, so that's Power of the Dog on Netflix. Do with it what you will. Next, I'm going to talk about. What?
Your rating system has
I
devolved
know,
into.
it has.
Oh, this is the best thing ever, or do with it what you will.
Yeah. In my opinion, like the granny on baking it. But that's just me.
It could just be me.
It's just me.
This is so entertaining for me, by the way.
Oh, good. I'm
I'm
glad.
having a great time. I'm probably not adding anything, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Next thing I'm going to talk about is Annie Live. This was on. I don't even know. Was it
NBC?
NBC?
Annie Lives.
Yeah. First off, I'm not a huge fan of Annie. I was as a child. I can't even remember now. My cousin might need to remind me. I think she had the dress and I had the wig, or I had the dress and she had the wig. I forget. But I do remember and I think we also had Annie like wristbands. So as a kid, I did like the movie. But man, you grow out of that so fast, and and that movie that I grew up with as a kid is like crappy compared to the stage show. Anyway, but Annie's been done a million times, right? And we just saw it a few years ago with Quvenzhané Wallace. Is that her last? Wallace?
Something like
Willis
that.
Wallace.
I think it's Wallace.
And Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx, which was fine. And she was actually really good at it. I hate to be mean about kids, but the girl they cast here, and now I'm forgetting her name, Selena Smith or something, she was fine. You can't tell me she was the best out of all the kids in the country. I just can't imagine that.
Well, you got to see the preview a couple days before or the week before, something like that.
At the parade.
At the parade. Yeah. At the
Yeah.
Thanksgiving parade. And I thought, wow, this kid's amazing and she's going to be something. And then I didn't watch this, obviously, with you. But then to hear you describe it, it's like, that's kind of disappointing because the buildup or the impression you got was that she was a once-in-a-generation talent and that sort of thing.
No.
Not to be mean, but it sounds like that is maybe not the case.
Either that or she was directed to lessen something. You know what I mean?
To downplay her talent.
Yeah. Harry Connick Jr. was wonderful. His voice sounded great. Nicole Scherzinger was very concerned about how she looked all the time.
Taraji was good.
Taraji was great.
Yeah.
Little Girls that she did a great rendition of Little Girls. It was all fine, but it's Annie and we've seen it a million times. That's all. That's my whole point. It's just, come on, we need to do some other stuff. Like it's been done too many times. We've seen great people do it. I just didn't need to see it again, especially with, I'm going to say, like middle of the road talent in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Yeah. So I'm sure it's on Peacock now. If anyone wants to go back and watch it, do with it what you want.
Do with it what you will.
Might just be me. So anyway, moving on. Next movie I want to talk about that I'm super excited to talk about that it surprised the crap out of me is on Netflix called Single All the Way. I'm so sorry.
Wow. You didn't talk to me about this at all.
No. Yeah, because I just watched it. What's today? I think Friday night. So I haven't talked to you about. Anyway,
okay.
So this is on Netflix. It's a Christmas movie. I went into it thinking, it's going to be one of, Netflix has so many of those like Lifetime Hallmark type movies, right? So I went into it going, well, let's just see. It stars Michael Urie, who we all know from, and I'm blanking again, America Ferrera. What was that show? Ugly Betty.
Oh, okay.
He was the assistant. He was hysterical. Vanessa Williams' assistant.
No, I didn't. I don't know the show well enough to.
Okay,
but that it's not for me.
So he's in. Nia Vardalos is in it. Is in this. Yeah. Anyway, I love this movie. First off, it's a much higher caliber than like the Hallmark movies or some of the cheesier Netflix movies that they have out.
Okay.
It's really, the writing was funny, and I actually found myself going, did they write that or did they just improv that?
Right.
Because I was laughing. There were really good lines in this. See, I blank every time. Roland Schitt's wife.
Oh, okay.
She's in this. She plays his sister.
Yeah, I don't know her name, but
so the point of this is just that Michael Urie, he lives in LA with his best friend. They've been friends for like 9 years or whatever. And he just has no luck with love, right? All this stuff. He's going home to visit his family for Christmas, and he decides to take his best friend. And at first, he's like, "Let's lie and tell them we're in a relationship now, just so they don't bug me." Mm-hmm. And they get home, and his best friend just won't go along with it. He's just like, nope. And so the mom wants to fix him up with someone, and he does go out on these dates with this guy and whatever. Meanwhile, the whole family just wants the best friend and him to get together. Mm-hmm. They just want them to be together, and so they're trying to maneuver things in order to get them together. And this is a rom-com that I would have watched in a theater. Like, oh wow. It really felt that way. It felt that good. And here's the thing, like last year that Hulu movie Happiest Season or whatever came out with Kristen Stewart. There's another one I liked her in. And Mackenzie Davis. And the thing there was, she went home for Christmas, yeah. Okay. And she wasn't out to her family yet, but she brought her girlfriend and they were just friends, And so it's like, I'm so look, as much as I think we even talked about when that movie came out, I'm fine with everyone having their stories of coming out and all that, but I feel like we need to get beyond, right? Mm-hmm. That's what Single All the Way is. There's no talk about when he came out or what's his, it's just he's going home to visit his family, and they all just want him to be in a relationship and be happy, and there's no talk of anything. There's nothing. It's just a normal. Well, that is kind of refreshing. Yes, it was super refreshing. His family is they're the nicest people. They all live in New Hampshire and just living their lives. And the dad is damn it, Janet.
Lenny?
No, from Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, Barry Bostwick.
Thank you.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh, I need my translator. Yeah, so that's his dad, and they're just all so great, and they're all happy, and the way that it all kind of comes about. Oh my God, Jennifer Coolidge is in it too. She's hysterical. Like, it's a great cast and a great story, and it is a typical just rom-com that we've seen a million times, but over Christmas and with funny dialogue.
And done very well.
Yeah. Just not there's nothing corny about it. Yes, have we seen the story a million times? Sure, but that's what we like about rom-coms. Yeah. So, and then you put it in Christmas and it's just even lovelier. And I just loved everyone in it. And I was so thrilled when it was over. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this again, and I'm going to watch it again, and I'm going to watch it again. Cool. So I was very happy with this.
Good.
Yeah. So Single All the Way. It's just a feel-good rom-com Christmas, all of that. All of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the top of the scale. This is the other end from Do With It What You Will. This is
definitely watch it.
Definitely watch it.
Okay, definitely watch it. It's on Netflix. Single All the Way. Definitely watch it.
Okay, so those are the two choices now. Definitely watch it or do with it what you will.
Probably, yeah. I don't have. We know me. I'm extreme. I don't have a middle ground.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last movie I'm going to talk about is on Comedy Central last night, called A Clusterfunke Christmas.
Like saying that.
Speaking of these Hallmark movies, right?
Yeah.
We know Hallmark does This is written by Anna Gasteyer and Rachel Dratch. They wrote this movie as a satire, a parody of all of those Hallmark movies.
Right.
Oh my God. So funny. So funny. They got all of the stereotype things in there. The main chick is a chick who just broke up with someone. She's devoted to her work. She's stoic. She can't have love in her life, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And she's sent to Yuletown in Maine to buy an inn for her hotel company that she works for, and Cheyenne Jackson is there as the guy, right? That they hate each other in the beginning, and then they're forced to work together, and it's hysterical. They have so many lines in there that pulling straight from these movies, and they're so in your face. They break the fourth wall sometimes with just how in your face they are. Mm-hmm. The lack of diversity, they make fun of that.
That was a scene that I caught. Yeah, that was a good scene.
Then of course her ex-boyfriend comes back and he wants to take her away, and I mean, oh my God, it was really funny. So if you like the Hallmark movies, and you enjoy them, but you also know how cheesy they are. Watching this just is funny and fun, and it's a lovely satire, and both Anna Gasteyer and Rachel Dratch are in it. They own the Clusterfunke Inn. They're the Clusterfunke sisters. It's just, and of course there's this whole backstory with the lead where she doesn't like Christmas, right? But now she's forced in this town that only celebrates Christmas, and this whole snow globe thing. And they nailed like every little thing. And then the next thing would come and go, oh yeah, that happens too, So I just kept laughing along with them. So A Clusterfunk Christmas, it's on Comedy Central. I saw they were running it a bunch of times today. I'm sure you can catch it at any time. And it's just one of those fun things to remind ourselves that these things aren't so serious. So yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
We're going to move on to television, which I can go through pretty quickly.
Okay.
The first is season 5 of Queen Sugar, ended a couple weeks ago. I think everyone who listens here knows that Queen Sugar is my favorite cable television show. They have kept it up. Season 5 was probably one of the best as far as dealing with, they still deal with the pandemic. They were dealing with all of the racial issues that we've dealt with over the last year. And it's going in a very big way into the next season, which I believe is unfortunately the final season, but I get it. We're going to see these characters make their way through. So if you haven't been watching Queen Sugar, you should be. I highly recommend going back and watching it from the start. I don't know if it's on OWN, so I don't know if it's on Hulu or Netflix or what, but wherever you can find it streaming, I highly recommend you going back and watching from the start. It's a wonderful show, wonderful family. I love it so much. It's just so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay.
The second season of The Morning Show ended a couple weeks ago too. I liked the second season way more than the first season. I think some of that was the content, as well as some of that was Jennifer Aniston wasn't in it as much. Who's to know?
Tell us how you really feel about Jennifer Aniston.
I watch everything she's in because she's always in good stuff, but it doesn't mean that I'm her favorite fan.
But do you feel it'll be better without her? It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So the second season was very good. We ended right with the pandemic starting. So I assume the third season will deal with the pandemic. I felt like this second season started at New Year's of 2020, and the whole season only went until the middle of March. I kept thinking we were going to get into it and get into the pandemic, so I was a little surprised that they only went that far. So we'll see what happens with the third season. Again, I have favorites, and Steve Carell is gone now, so he's not on anymore. It was good. It was better. I definitely liked the storylines better this season. Maybe it's because the first season was so hard too, dealing with such hard things. So maybe that was why too. So that's that. The Great British Bake Off, the latest season.
Yes.
So
yes.
The latest season, and we just watched the holiday special yesterday or the day before. And now I feel like I don't even remember. Oh, Giuseppe. Yes. Giuseppe spoiler.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, if you haven't watched it, you'll still be surprised. It's not a big deal.
You may not be surprised, but it's still definitely worth watching. Even if you haven't, know who wins. It's still really good. The journey is the payoff.
Yes. I think if you listen to us, you know that this is one of our favorite shows ever of all time.
Absolutely.
So glad that it came back. This was a great group of people.
Yeah.
This was an amazing group of bakers.
Yeah. It turns out from the first episode, you kind of always pick the person you want to see go home first, or sometimes there might be a couple, whatever. So the British Bake Off is a little bit different than that. There are some that you're like, but you're not like, watching something on Food Network where you're like, oh, that person has to go.
Right.
It's just different anyway, but there's usually one or two that you're like, nah, I'm okay if they go. But for the most part, this season, it was like, oh, I don't mind any of them.
Right.
And even the crazy one that was not crazy.
Right, but she was good.
She was good, and she grew.
Yeah.
Her baking grew to where by the time she got knocked out, you were almost you were disappointed. You were sad
she
for her
was doing
because
well. Yeah,
she did really well, and it just one of those weeks. But anyway, it was a great show. I loved it.
Great season. Yeah,
yeah.
They keep coming up, and every year I go, how can they come up with different things to bake? And they keep coming up with. Every once in a while they'll repeat stuff or whatever, but man, especially for the technicals and stuff, they keep coming up with different things to bake, and I'm just like, how
many baked goods are there in the world? Anyway, yeah, so
if you think you don't like baking shows or whatever, that's because you've been watching American stuff. Like, please go on Netflix and watch The Great British Bake Off, and you will get it. You'll just get it.
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Good. Next thing I'm going to talk about is actually a series that was on CNN called Diana. This was again about Princess Di. This was a good series. It started from basically her childhood and explaining about how her mother took off and all that stuff, and going all the way past her death into kind of getting into the whole Harry and Meghan thing as well. It was a good series. I'm sure it's online somewhere. Again,
sure.
I don't know where CNN does it, but it's just called Diana. A lot of people talking about different things and what was going on, and and it doesn't paint her as the saint. I mean, we all know that she did her own thing too, but it's just it's a good reminder that I think we need every now and then. And look, a transition is coming soon, probably, and to remember kind of who's going to be king and princess consort soon. And not that when Charles and Camilla got married, I made sure I was home. I watched their wedding. I cried for them. I was happy for people who have been in love for so long to finally get married. I was happy for them. Does it still take away from what they did to Diana and all of that? No, but so anyway, it's very interesting.
So here's a question. I don't want to derail the conversation, but just, something to think about. I think about from time to time. At what point does a monarchy go away?
That's a tough thing. I think if you polled England right now, I think it's pretty 50-50. I'm not entirely sure with that. But you also got to think of all the other countries that is under them and under the Queen. So I don't know. I won't be surprised, and this might not be in our lifetime, but it wouldn't surprise me if William diminishes the monarchy's power / income / place. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't take it down to kind of a bare bones thing. I think he probably recognizes how much money and that sort of thing the whole monarchy takes up from the people, and maybe he can change that. Charles will not. Charles is fully enveloped.
Yeah, he's a traditionalist. I get that.
But William, according to what we hear now too, he might also be drinking the Kool-Aid. So I don't know. I think that's what we were hoping he would do later on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's very interesting.
Because what value do they add? I mean, it's all just for show, right? It's all they're not involved in lawmaking or anything like that. And it's all pomp and circumstance. It's all tradition. It's all. I don't know. There's no real substance to daily life of a normal Brit. They're not impacted by anything the monarchy does, other than they take up television space and radio addresses and things like that. But there's no. Maybe I'm being crass about this, but there's nothing they do is of any consequence to people's lives, right?
Not really. It is a figurehead,
right?
Again, and I'm not an expert, so don't. If I'm wrong, obviously tell us I'm wrong.
You're not?
I'm not.
Oh, all these Diana shows you watch, I thought you would be.
No, but I from what I see, it is pomp and circumstance. It is a figurehead. It is like when the Queen does eventually die, like everything stops.
Right.
They technically, the monarch is technically in charge of like all of their television shows. So the television will cease, and then the BBC has to come on and announce the Queen's death. Like
Yeah,
no one else is
it
allowed
has
to do
to be the BBC.
It has to be the BBC.
Yeah, that I know.
Then all printing of money stops because she's on all the money. So all printing of money stops. They then have to start printing money with Charles on it. The trading stops when she dies. You know, like everything is it you know, it's I think it's hard as an American who hasn't had a monarch to really understand. But the amount of countries that she is overseas, you know, all of that, it is old fashioned too when you think of it, right? Because it's like
100%.
You know, they didn't get those countries voluntarily. So, you know, it's like it is I think when you polled people over there, I think you would recognize the traditionalist is okay with the monarchy sticking around the way it is. And then the newer people, maybe they're the ones that are like, yeah, what money, you know, the money that they spend, the money that they use, you know, I think that's usually the argument is that.
Well, yeah, I mean, so she's on the money. What's to say you couldn't put somebody else on the money that's not the Queen?
Right. It's just that they've never done that.
Right.
So it's changing a lot. And can it happen? Yeah. It's just, you know, she believes, Charles believes, and who knows if William is thinking the same thing. You know, they believe that they are touched by God in order to do this job. It's not just, you know, they're not elected. It's not so it is their duty by God to reign. I mean, it's not just an easy thing of like, oh, well, I can turn this down. I mean, look at this woman at her age. She should step down and let Charles take it, but she won't. It will be, I'm going to die at this position. You know, that's just because that's not what you do. You don't step down.
Right. Well, you know, whatever. At some point it will end. All of them will end. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
you know,
they're going to, because at some point, way less than 50% of the people are going to believe in the God that she's touched by or that her family was chosen by.
They just got rid of her as rule some island or something now, like last week or the week before. They've decided not to be under her rule anymore, and now I don't remember who it was. And I think that will happen. You know, you look, I mean, but Australia, Canada, you know, they're all under her rule. So I don't know. And it's not for, I mean, we're Americans. What do we know?
Well, truly, especially as far as they're concerned.
Right.
They look at us and they say, well, what do you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, so
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm fascinated by the whole thing. I love the entire story of it. That's, you know, if I lived there under that, would I have an opinion? I'm sure I would. I don't know what that would be because I don't have that experience. But I love the whole, I mean, going back to Henry VIII is one of my favorite things because I'm descended from Catherine Howard. And so I love all of the pomp and circumstance and all that junk. I love it. I eat it up. Okay. But that's because it's very easy from over here for me to do that. Do I, you know, I think it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
So fascinating.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last TV show I wanted to talk about quickly is Red Table Talk, because I don't think I've talked about it on here, and they're like 3 or 4 seasons in, and just won some Emmys. And so this is on Facebook Watch, which people think, what? On Facebook? Yeah. But there's an app, you know, so on my Apple TV or on my Amazon Fire Stick, there is an app for Facebook Watch. And so you can watch it on your television. Red Table Talk is the brainchild of Jada Pinkett Smith, and she's on there with her mother and her daughter Willow. So it's 3 generations of Black women talking about anything and everything. Sometimes they'll have celebrities on, like this week's is with Sandra Bullock, and sometimes they'll just talk about anything, you know, whatever's going on in the world. Or it's such a good show. It is such a good show. I want people to watch it more if you're not. They really have great discussions. They're so open between the 3 of them, and then whoever they bring on. It's just an amazing thing. And they now have a second show, Red Table Talk, the Estefans, which is Gloria Estefan and her daughter, and then Gloria's niece, who is like this famous like journalist or reporter or something in Miami. And so again, it's 3 generations of Latino women, and they speak to their community and their community's issues, which is also fantastic. So, and they have opened up to some amazing topics as well. So it's all really, really good content, and I love it. You know, I feel like in the last 10 years or whatever it's been since Oprah's gone off, it's hard to find those kind of shows where we learned about kind of important things about ourselves and our minds and our brains and, you know, and our communities or whatever. And this feels like that kind of thing for me. It's almost like watching Oprah again, where we learn and we connect, and, you know, you're not alone and feeling that way and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really love about Red Table Talk. And so I wanted to just point it out that, and, you know, every once in a while Will Smith does come on and they'll have talks about their relationship. Like when the whole Jada cheating thing came out, they had a whole special just of the two of them talking about it and stuff. So, you know, it's very interesting and very good. So I highly, highly, highly recommend going back and watching as many of them as you can.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
That's everything.
Oofta.
I know. And I feel like I'm not watching anything, which is super weird. Like,
yeah, you're watching a bunch of stuff every day.
It's weird, but I feel like I don't watch anything. So, okay. Let's dive into the Actor's Corner with Tim Allen.
Okay.
So, now, did you ever watch his stand-up, like, before Home Improvement?
No, I've never seen him stand up.
Oh, okay. Because I do remember his stand-up. I remember, of course, my dad loved his stand-up because it was basically Tim Taylor, you know.
Right. Sure.
So then when Home Improvement came on, that was, you know, my dad, who did not watch television, really, he loved Tim Taylor and Home Improvement and the whole thing, you know. So that was definitely a show that we watched actually together. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, that's cool. Yeah, there weren't many of those, were there?
I don't think I can think of any others. Every once in a while, you know, my dad would sit around and maybe watch stuff, but not like, I'm not even sure if it was a regular basis, but he would definitely watch Home Improvement.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Okay,
so movies you love.
Yeah, just one thing.
Okay.
Galaxy Quest.
That's what I have on mine too.
Yeah.
I felt like, and this is a weird thing, and I don't know if you felt like it too, but when we met and eventually I found out that you love that movie, like that was a hook for me.
That was when you knew I was a keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's a weird movie, but I think that's why, because I don't know that I know anyone else who loves that movie like I do.
Yeah. So
now I know a ton of people do, but back then,
yeah. I mean, that was an indicator. I remember you saying, you know, you like Galaxy Quest? I think this is gonna work.
Yeah, it's such a good movie.
And look at us now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Such a good movie. Fantastic cast.
Yeah,
I mean, that movie, it's not because of Tim Allen, but it's also not despite him either. I mean, he's a role. Everyone has their role in that movie, and it's spot on.
Yeah.
Every single person is spot on in what they're doing.
Well, you know this, but probably not everybody else knows this, but I am not a Tim Allen fan. It's not that I don't like him. I don't care for him.
Yeah.
Right? To me, there's a difference, but it's not
like he what?
It's
he
not
doesn't
that
like him, but he doesn't care for him.
Look, it's not that I don't like him, but I don't like him. No. But Galaxy Quest, I can't imagine anybody else in that role.
Right.
And despite my not caring for him,
yeah,
he's perfect for it.
But you think that of everyone.
Well, yes.
I mean, you go down the line, you cannot replace any of those people with anyone else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I have Galaxy Quest on my love as well. I have a second one, Christmas with the Cranks. So I did say the reason we're doing Tim Allen is because of the whole Christmas movie thing, and we will get to the Santa Clauses, I'm sure. But I love Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah.
I it's one I watch all year long. And I cry every single time I watch it, no matter what. It cracks me up. Jamie Lee Curtis is so funny in it.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing cracks me up the whole time. And then I cry so horribly at the end every single time. I love it. It's one of my top Christmas movies.
Sure.
And yet I usually forget about it too, you know, but if it's on, I stop, I watch it. No question. So yeah.
Yep.
All right, movies you like.
I actually have 3 things.
Okay.
Here. The Toy Stories.
Okay.
Yeah, Buzz wouldn't be Buzz without Tim Allen. It's just
Right.
yeah, it's perfect.
Except now we're gonna have Chris Evans as Buzz, but that's okay. Well, he's Lightyear anyway.
I'll give Chris Evans a pass on
Chris Evans can do anything
Yeah.
he wants. But actually, he's playing the real person. So,
And look,
in the Pixar world, Buzz Lightyear was based off of a real like space ranger. Chris Evans is that Lightyear movie that's coming out is based on the real person that then the toy was based off of.
yes.
So that's why there can be 2 separate voices.
Look, you don't have to explain yourself.
I just want people to know because it confused me because I was
okay.
why wouldn't Tim Allen be doing this voice?
Yeah.
Like it did confuse me. So that's why.
When you say, Chris Evans can do anything,
Yes.
I know what you mean by that.
Me, please.
And look, I'm okay with it. I get it. It's okay.
Yes.
Wild Hogs.
Okay.
Yeah, it just works.
I have
It's
that
funny.
under Secretly Love. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that movie. And again, those 4 you would not pick to put together. I mean, I could see maybe Tim Allen and John Travolta being there, but you put Bill Macy and see, I'm blanking
Martin
again.
Lawrence.
Thank you. Jeez Louise. And Martin together. And, it's I love that movie.
Yeah.
It cracks me up.
Yeah,
They crack me up.
totally.
Yeah. So, again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Home Improvement,
Okay.
which for me is as much about Patricia Richardson as it is about
It's
Tim
mostly
Allen.
about Patricia
Well,
Richardson.
Hey, Patricia Richardson could do anything.
I remember having that conversation too when we met. Somehow,
Yeah.
I think she was on a list of yours or something.
Oh,
and I
she's
was like,
on every
"What?"
list of mine.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her for a while. I don't care. Whatever. That's
Yeah.
fine.
So my likes are the Toy Stories. If I have to choose, the third one is my favorite. Buzz Lightyear is not my favorite character. Not even in the tops, probably. Because he always annoyed me because he didn't get it. It was like it took him so long to get that he's a toy and that it's like, ugh. But Tim Allen is Buzz Lightyear. So yes, I love all of those movies.
If we ever meet Molly, I will be sure not to tell her that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Molly.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you hate?
No, it's
Yeah.
empty.
I didn't have anything. I mean, there wasn't a lot to choose from here. There were a
No.
few movies back in the 90s that I didn't see.
Yeah.
But yeah, there wasn't a lot to choose from.
Most of the stuff that was on there that I have seen or know about, I was pretty indifferent about.
Yeah.
But most of it was his resume is like 50% the Toy Stories, and
the Santa Clauses.
another 20% the Santa Clauses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was surprising how
Little
he's done.
Well, the Home Improvement was on for 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And then Last Man Standing, I think has been like 7 or 8. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
So-
And look, I've seen a couple episodes of Last Man Standing, and it's okay. There's
It's-
nothing special about
It's
it.
Home Improvement, just he has 3 daughters instead of 3 boys.
I guess, yeah.
Because I didn't watch it either.
Yeah.
At that point, I've lost him politically, so that's why I just stopped.
Yeah, that is a thing. Once you find out about somebody's
watching. Yeah.
thing, it's tough.
All right, Secretly Love.
Okay, love is a strong word here, but it's Christmas with the Cranks. I secretly am okay with it.
Have you ever seen it all the way through?
Yes, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I've seen the movie. Yeah. And look, it's cute. It's good. It's him in that movie to me. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Look, I'll watch her do anything. I'll watch her do nothing. But and the rest of the movie is good. It's just he's a little too much of something in there.
for me, because I went through these years of having a real thing for him, and Galaxy Quest kind of started it. I mean, when he's shirtless and I was like, oh, hello, Tim Allen. So, and Christmas with the Cranks kind of is in there with me. Like, I really love him in that movie. He had a few good years where I really was into him, and so I think maybe that catapults maybe my love for that movie.
Sure.
But anyway, so my secretly love, like I said, is Wild Hogs, but also the Santa Clauses. I love the Santa Clauses. I think all 3 are clever. I think he's a great Santa. The idea of the claws, in the first one, and then there's a different claws in the second one. And And then the third one with Martin Short, I think they're clever and adorable, and I've watched them like probably 3 times in the last week.
Yeah, and I watched a good chunk of one of them.
You watched the second one?
Yeah.
But that's because of Elizabeth
And look,
Mitchell.
Elizabeth Mitchell, she can do anything.
Yeah, I just think for me now, and especially at this point, I can't imagine kids because now they grow up and these movies just exist for them. But for me, it's not Christmas without those movies. It's just they're a staple.
Yeah, I guess I get that. It's yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Anything you haven't seen?
No.
And anything you're adding to your watch
No.
list? Yeah. But I do have honorable mentions
Of course you do.
I had Home Improvement for Richer or Poorer with him and
Is that Kirstie Alley?
yes.
Yeah, see
That movie was funny.
I think I may have seen part of it, and my recollection of it, which isn't obviously very good, was it was funny.
It was funny.
So that may be something I might be interested in catching sometime. But that list is so long, just to be realistic, that's not going to make it. But I can see that movie.
No, it was funny. It was one of those where like it was when it was on the movie channel rotation, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it a bunch.
Yeah.
They were both funny in it, and it was a funny premise. Like it's basically, did you hear about the Morgans, the one with Sarah Jessica Parker and Hugh Grant?
Yeah.
It's basically that, but they went to an Amish place to hide away and stuff. But it's funny. Again, both of them kind of in their heyday. Funny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's all I had actually to add.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Did you have a favorite Toy Story out of the 4?
I don't think so. I think all of them were. Well, I can't say that. Which one were they in the toy store or in the secondhand store, whatever it was, the thrift shop
With the girl doll. That's the fourth one.
That's the fourth one
with Forky. Yeah, you like Forky.
I like Forky, and I think that was the most memorable story for me. So I guess I would say that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tough ending.
Yeah, not as tough to me as the third one. That when they're in the preschool or whatever, and then they get in the incinerator and they think they're gonna die, and then the claw gets them, but then at the end when Andy gives them away to the little girl, he drives off to go to college.
Sorry, that's the ending I was thinking of.
That's the worst one.
That's the ending I was thinking of, and I equated it to 4, but it's
the fourth
not.
one is when Woody leaves them all and goes with Bo Peep.
Right.
Yeah, spoiler.
Do you think they're gonna do more?
I don't know.
Because that kind of opens things up for
Woody and Bo Peep, yeah.
Well, and a potential reunion by some weird thing.
Yeah. I don't know. They're all getting so much older that eventually you won't have the voices to keep doing these things.
Yeah,
so
but there are so many people in this world that can do such good impressions. I mean, the thing that struck me. Sidetrack here, but we watched the video of the Muppet Parade at Disney.
Yeah.
And man, those voices were really good.
Yeah.
I don't know who's doing them now, but
yeah,
they sounded legit.
Yeah.
So I think I think the voices are probably not the least of the concerns, but I think that can be overcome. Sorry, am I boring you now?
Sorry.
That's okay.
I think we reached our end.
Oh, we probably 10 minutes ago.
Okay. I think that's it.
Yeah, that probably should be.
Yeah. So I probably am just watching Christmas stuff mostly from now till our next recording, but we'll see. There's still some new shows that I'm in the middle of, so there'll be plenty to talk about. But I am definitely watching a lot of Christmas stuff. Like, how many times a day can I watch Daddy's Home 2? How many times a day can I watch 4 Christmases? We're testing it all out.
Yeah. Ooh, I do have a public service announcement. We saw the trailer for the next season of Mrs. Maisel.
Oh yeah, February
18th. It comes back.
I meant to tell you. Have you seen Ricky Gervais's preview for season 3 of Afterlife?
No.
And it's set to a song that he wrote, and it's a tearjerker. So we'll show that. I'll show you that right now. We'll get
damn
off here.
him. One of the funniest guys in the world can turned me into a mess.
Oh my God. Yeah. So Afterlife is coming back. So
Okay,
we will get into that.
All right. My 2 favorite shows.
Yes. So, okay. Thank you everyone for sticking around.
Yeah.
We will be back in another 2 or 3 weeks. It'll probably be during the Christmas break. We'll do something during that time.
Yeah, which for us is between Christmas and New Year's.
Yes.
Yep.
So, all right. Happy Hanukkah to everyone.
Yep.
And that's it. Until then, I'll be watching my stories.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.